Hello guys and welcome to another video with me, Razor. Today guys I'm going to be talking about rogues. A lot of people have given me some really good feedback about rogues, and it's not just been priests, it's been other casters as well. Mainly it has been casters, because I think casters find it difficult to burst on rogues because of their many ways of escaping somebody, for escaping our burst as priests, and also mages and warlocks find it very difficult. So I'm going to give you a few tips on what we can do from a priest perspective today, and obviously this is what I find very comfortable to use against rogues, and sometimes it's different against different rogues. For example, subtlety rogues are different to assassination rogues. So I'm going to give you these tips today to show you how I would come up against a rogue and what I would use to try and counter their abilities. Now remember guys, what message I want you to take from this video more than anything else is the fact that rogues are not going to be taken down by strong burst. They're not going to be taken down by 1 or 2 seconds or maybe 10 seconds even of a very strong burst taking him down, all of his health until he's dead. Rogues are going to escape, and they have many ways of doing so. So your burst should always be spread across the board, and always expect when dueling a rogue that you're going to be lasting a lot longer than most other classes. So you may need to concentrate more on healing. You need to concentrate more on your healing on your hots, sorry, and make sure that you are expecting him to control the fight. Never try to control a rogue for too long, because it's their fight. They've got the more CC when it comes to us against them. And always make sure that you will expect him to carry on after your burst, because if you use everything in 5 seconds that we can use, or 6 seconds that we can use our insanity flays on him, and you think that's it, you're going to kill him, you will lose the duel, or you will lose in arena, because rogues have a lot of ways of escaping us. So guys, main message is spread your burst, make sure you have consistent pressure, make sure that you use your fiend when he's about to blind, or when you suspect that he's about to blind, and I'll go into a lot more details on this in this video. Hope you guys enjoy, and I want to say a huge thank you to everybody for all your support. It's been really good, all the feedback I've been getting. Obviously it makes me want to make the video about rogues, and it makes me want to really challenge rogues, because everybody out there has such a big kind of problem, and they hit almost like a brick wall when it comes to rogues, because they don't know how to react to their abilities. Right guys, what I want to go into just briefly is exactly what I'll be using here for dueling the rogue, and my setup basically, and what it will include. Now just to go into each talent line, I won't go into too much detail, but in the first talent line I will be going for Void Tendrils, purely because I think against a good rogue, which I'll be dueling, they will be kicking the Siphene quite a lot of the time, sprinting, kicking the Siphene, which will make it almost absolutely useless. They can also gouge it, they can also, if they're about to kill you, they might even blind it. So it's low health as well, so it doesn't take that much to kill the Siphene. So for me, it's not going to be effective in this fight. Even as far as you might want to put it, they can still shadow step usually, and then just kick it, and it'll just make it completely useless. I'm going to go for Void Tendrils, and Void Tendrils can be broken by anti-magic cloak, as well as Vanish. So they've got 2 abilities which will be able to actually break the CC, but however it will be it will be something that you use to let's say for example proc an ability, or get them to use one of their abilities, which is absolutely fine, because then at least you're 1 less CD down for them to use. Now the next one is going to be Body and Soul, purely because Body and Soul can put a lot more distance between you and the rogue, as opposed to these. This is a very situational one, and this doesn't really put distance between you and the rogue. This one does. They don't always have the effects on you. They can, for example, when they reset the fight, you can easily just have the shield on, run away, especially when you're about to be bursted. It's very useful. I'm going to go for Solace and Insanity, because I think we need the burst. We need it as much as possible. That's why I've gone ahead and used Divine Insight. You can use Power Infusion if you wanted to, but I think that focuses too much on just a little bit of burst as opposed to an all-rounded burst. So I've gone with Solace and Insanity and Divine Insight, because I'm going to get those instant this instant Shadow Word Pains on him, and then try to get as many procs of these as possible, as well as basically use Solace and Insanity to try and get as much pressure out as possible when I can. I've gone for Desperate Prayer. This is a good one to have against Assassination Rogues, because Vendetta runs for a very long time, and I believe it's above 15 seconds actually. Vendetta will be on you. You can't really use Spectral Geist. In any other situation, I probably would go for Spectral Geist because it gives you that breathing space to be able to cast a spell. But you cannot use it against assassination rogues when they're bursting because they just see right through it because of Vendetta. You can, however, use it against subtlety rogues because they'll be a lot better. But in this case, I'm going to be going for an assassination rogue, so I will be using Desperate Prayer. Now, Desperate Prayer, usually I have a macro for it here where it's coupled with whether if I've got a health stone. Usually when I use Desperate Prayer, I'll put this macro on, because if I have a health stone, I use both the Desperate Prayer and a health stone at the same time. Obviously I don't have a health stone or anything like that at the moment. This is a duel, but if it did say for arena, I use this macro. Make sure you do use the macro as well. I mean, if you didn't have a health stone, you still will just use Desperate Prayer with this macro. But if you did have a health stone, you forgot about it, it will couple the Desperate Prayer 30% increase of health with the health stone, which will give you basically another. It'll give you a good buff. Or a good boost of your health. So as I said, I'm going to go for Divine Insight. Next in line, or last in line rather, is going to be Cascade. It's the one I've always used. I'm not going to use anything different because I think it gives you 2 heals, chance to actually break stealth, and it's a good all-round low cooldown ability which can heal you sometimes for a good amount of crit. Can heal you for sometimes 120 fit crits both ways. Definitely my favourite in this talent line. Moving on to our glyphs. Our glyphs obviously going to include Glyph of Inner Fire, increases armor so you take less physical damage. Always going to use Glyph of Vampiric Embrace purely because you use this when I'm bursting to try and get as much heal as possible, and there is a lot of heal that comes in a very short amount of time. So even the time it takes for them to react to what you're doing, it will give you enough heal to probably survive. And I also want to go for further healing because this is going to be a long fight. Rogues will always reset. It always takes a very long time for you to actually pin them down finally and get them low on health. So I'm going to go for a Glyph of Prayer of Mending. This is because obviously I want a little bit more heal, so this will give me a 60% boost to my first proc of heal. So that's it, guys. I'm going to end it here and then reopen again once I've got the duel set up, but this is what I'm going to be using, so look out for how I use it. I'll try to explain a little bit when I'm doing the duel on what I'm doing or how I'm using the abilities. Alright guys, here we go. So I'm going to start with this duel. If you're lucky enough to catch a rogue, I just almost did there, but unfortunately he managed to sap me before I was able to do anything. Always apply your shield. There you go, that's Vendetta on. What I would usually do with this is if he's going to pop Shadow Blaze at this time, I will definitely go for a Dispersion. Now you see what happened there is 2 things. First of all, I use my speed to get away from him. Now he's blinded me, I think. Wait. Right, so he's got no Vendetta left, and he's got hopefully no. He's only got Shadow Blades, I believe. So again, you see, without speed, I'm easily putting distance between myself and him, buying time, getting away from the attacks. I'm gonna put a fear on him, and then just dot. And you see, we got a proc now, so you use the proc, put the pressure on straight away. We got another proc. Right, he's shadow blading now, guys. If you haven't noticed, so. I think it's a very, very bad opener for him, really. As you saw the first Vendetta he had on me, I was able to put a lot of distance between myself and him before he was able to get a lot of damage using Vendetta. Now he could have usually Shadow Bladed and Vendetta at the same time, which would have made it almost impossible for me to stop him, especially if he was going to cloak anything I put on him. In that point in time, as I mentioned before, I would have gone straight for a Dispersion. From a Dispersion, the only thing you can do to a rogue at that point, he's going to be very heavily on you, so the only thing you can do really is put another Body and Soul and just put distance between yourself and the rogue. If you put distance between yourself and the rogue, it will at least buy time for you, and those seconds on Vendetta and Shadow Blaze is ticking down. They're not very long, just survive it. Heal while you're running, instance, use your Divine Star, and also use, obviously I've got my Prayer of Mending, and also I'm using my bubble. Also I'm using my renew constantly, and just buy time, you know, because you won't be able to do anything else at that point. Now I wasn't even I wasn't even in need of using my Desperate Prayer in this fight, but had I had a low amount of health, I would have used it to boost myself back up, which again would have bought more time. And remember, his cloak only lasts 5 seconds, so you know you've got this every 30 seconds. Pop it on straight away, buys you time. Even if he breaks your CC, absolutely fine. So I hope you guys really enjoyed that video, and as you saw, it isn't hard to beat a rogue. I mean, this rogue that I did duel, if I can find him, he has. I mean, I've played with him in arena before. He has a lot of skill using a rogue, and he's also quite fully geared in. You know, he's got what is it? He's got 3 pieces of terrain. He's got 2 grievous gear, and he's using a lot of different. Yeah, he's got quite good gear as well. But in any case, I mean, he's probably not the best at opening, in that you know, to be fair to him, he wasn't the best at opening. But I will record another one shortly, just to show you guys maybe a bit of a different opener. Alright guys, going in for another duel here with another rogue. Just wanted to show you a little bit of a different perspective. I think this guy is still assassination though, so he's going to be watching out really for the Shadow Blades and Vendettas. Again, going with the Desperate Prayer as opposed to Spectral Geist. Not going for Reflective Shield. Probably maybe should have. But I'll go, you know, with a bit more healing to prolong the fight. As you can see, that brought about the Cloak of Shadows. That's okay. See that, guys? Kind of expected the blind, so I was setting a Fiend on him straight away to prevent it from actually taking much effect on me. Gonna trinket that. I know the rogue is pretty much out of much usability right now. Make sure you keep your heals up, dots up.